Thanks, Liz. And I say this every time, but I really think Liz should be like on a news channel. Like, she's so good on camera. I die for her. And she's doing it outside in 100-degree weather. So we all need to make fun of her frizzy hair. She said it's going to get a little frizzier, and she might pass out because of the heat. So we just got to cheer her on. But Liz, thanks for having me back, and Nicole and Trish. I mean, you guys are amazing. And just everyone who has signed on. I know you guys are stationed all over the world. This is such a pleasure for us at Homemade. I always say that we can't inspire the world to cook if we don't feel safe in our very own home. And you guys are out there, whether you're serving yourself, whether you're supporting someone who is serving, just thank you. It allows us to do what we love, and it allows us to live in a place that we love and feel safe every day. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We love these classes. Today is all about the burger, and whether you're PCSing, is that a thing, PCSing? Or just, okay, all right, I'll go with PCSing. So whether or not you're PCSing, this is just so simple, right? It's meat, it's bun, a couple of other things that are optional. But as a chef, I wanted to show you guys tricks. I wanted to show you the wins, how to make sure your burger always is juicy. How do you cook it perfectly? You know, what separates a good burger from an incredible burger? And that is what today is all about. So some of it's optional. Some of it is totally not optional. You got to follow these rules. I told Liz and Nicole, I'm going to get drill sergeant on you guys today. But at any time, feel free to unmute yourself, ask questions. What we love about this is that it's fully interactive. Also in the chat, you have access to Chef Lindsay, who's a chef here at Homemade. She is such a rock star. So if you're not comfortable raising your hand or just have like a quick question that you just want to get on the chat, Lindsay is there to help you and support you. So let's get started. I did mention to some of the people who are here early, but the best thing to do is to preheat your oven. 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which I learned is 175 degrees Celsius. And then I also, whether you're grilling outside or if you're using a grill pan, we're using a grill pan because we just thought a lot of people maybe don't have access to a grill, depending on where you're stationed. I want you to get the grill pan heated on like a 6 out of 10 heat. And if you're outside like Elizabeth, go ahead and blast that grill. That puppy needs to be hot. Cool. So we're going to start with a couple of things. The first thing that we really want to start with and wanted to show you guys is a little condiment. I mean, ketchup's great. Ketchup is totally beautiful. But to make a little topper for a burger that sets it off. So we're going to make these caramelized, slow-roasted, sticky onions that are made with balsamic vinegar. And it's like 4 ingredients, and it's just like... it's just magical how good this is, and it sets the burger apart. So here are the ingredients that you need. Go ahead and go grab them. You don't need to measure anything out if you are cooking along, but 5 ingredients for this. An onion, it could be red, it could be white, doesn't matter. I have some fresh thyme. If you don't have thyme, that's totally cool, but if you can, fresh or dry thyme, a clove of garlic, a little balsamic vinegar, a little bit of vegetable oil, and that is all she wrote. I know a lot of people only have access to, is it the canteens? Is it like just to not a full grocery store? But I think most of these things you can find anywhere, right? Liz, Nicole, these are pretty approachable.
Should be able to. Yeah, this is called commissary.
Commissary, yeah. Commissary, yeah. All right, so for these onions, grab a little pan, wrap it with tin foil because these get really sticky. And the only reason why we do this is so we don't have to scrub this thing later. It takes a long time. And I'm going to show you guys how to cut an onion, but I do want to ask, how do you, and I've probably asked this before, but we got some new people on here, how do you cut an onion without crying? Throw it in the chat, raise your hand. How do you cut an onion without crying? And Sharon, don't you dare tell me you give it to your kids to do. What's that, Nicole?
Joel, I heard that you chew bubble gum.
Oh, I've never heard the chewing bubblegum one. That's interesting. Who else has one? I'll see anything in the chat come through, Linz? Nothing? Okay, I've also heard light a match.
Sharp knife. My husband keeps saying sharp knife.
Yes, a sharp knife is so huge. If you use a dull knife, it really presses the onion and it makes more of the vapors go out. But there is one proven option besides wearing goggles, which makes you look ridiculous. But hey, at least you're not crying. You can take a wet... Yeah, exactly. You can take a wet paper towel, just a little bit, and put it in your mouth. And when you cut the onion, all the vapors go to wet things. That's why it goes to your eyes. So it goes to the towel before your eyes. Saves the day. Saves the day. But with one onion, it's not going to be the end of the world. So the way you chop an onion is you cut the bottom off and the top off. So everyone do that with me if you're cooking along. And we just do that so it sits flat. It's just a little safer. Then I cut it in half. And I just take out that like first layer of skin. Super easy peasy. And by the way, if you don't like onion, if that's just not your thing, I know this sounds fancy, but look for fennel. It's not as strong in flavor, and it brings just amazing sweetness, and you can just replace it with fennel. And then what I want to do is I just want to tuck my fingers back and just slowly slice this onion as thin as you can. All right. When I get about halfway, it gets kind of awkward to hold. So I just flip the onion over and keep going. And it's as simple as that. So I'll just do it again so you guys can see. I'm almost like following the lines of the onion. So fingers are back, knife's going through, and when I get about halfway, I flip it and just keep on going. And you have a nice big pile of sliced onions. And this is going to cook down to like almost nothing because there's so much water in them, but it's going to be such a good topper on top of the burger. So I'm going to get these onions on the sheet tray. Any questions so far? How we doing? Linz? No, you good?
Oh, no, we have a question.
Oh.
What is your favorite spice, herb, or dried ingredient?
So the question is, what is my favorite spice, herb, or dried ingredient? That's a really good question. I'm going to go with, this is your curveball. So look for mushroom powder. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it in grocery stores nowadays. It's becoming really popular. It's just dried mushrooms ground into a powder. It doesn't taste like mushrooms. It tastes like a hug. And I'm not kidding. It makes everything taste so good. A big pinch of that in a soup, in a sauce, in anything, even over your scrambled eggs or in this burger, it makes it taste more savory. So look for mushroom powder. It's kind of like a cheat for MSG, but it's natural and it's really good. So I love, hope the military is okay with me promoting MSG on this. It's, yeah, who cares? If you eat Chinese food, this is why you love it. But this is natural Chinese. It's natural. All right. I actually love the normal MSG too. So on top of these onions, I've got our little garlic clove. I'm just going to smash this, take it out of its paper, and smash it again. And then I just chop that up. You can, of course, just use a garlic press if that's your thing. And I'm just going to add this into the onion. So far over my onions, I have a little garlic, I have the onions themselves, and then I'm adding a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar. And then also a 1/4 cup of any olive oil or vegetable oil you got, and then a little salt, a little pepper, and I just mix these up with my hands. So simple. And everyone's going to say, like, this is what really sets this burger apart. It's a little frou-frou with the balsamic onion glaze type vibe, but who cares? It's optional, and people who try it love it. So I'm going to take these onions, and I'm going to put it in my 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. Nicole, you tell me when 20 minutes are up.
Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Lindsay reminded me I needed to add to my time. Best way to handle time, you guys, by the way, take the little stem, turn it upside down like this, and like a zipper, you just zip off all the leaves. And then I still chop them just in case it gets a little stemmy. But that's all you do. You can do that with rosemary, any of those herbs. But yeah, thyme is definitely one of my favorites. All right, I'm going to toss that into the oven. Lindsay, thank you for the reminder. How we doing, team? By the way, I always love to ask, just because we have a moment, where are you stationed? Where do you live? I think these are so fun for us. Typically, we have hundreds, if not sometimes thousands of people onto our classes. We never get to have such an intimate group, and I love it. But this group is always the most diverse of wherever you are. So I see we have some people from Wyoming. Where else? Throw it in the chat. You scroll down, my dear? Yeah. Ohio. Love it. And I know we've got Japan on here. Tucson, Arizona. Oh, is it really hot there, Jerry? Tell me that AC is working. Tell me that AC is working. I live in Seattle, so I'm not having these problems that a lot of you guys are having. I wish I was, but it's still freezing here, believe it or not. All right. So next up is the burger itself. And oh my gosh, if you Google how to cook a burger, a billion things will show up. And it's so confusing. And there's so many different things. So I really want to keep it simple. And I just don't want to make it overly complicated. It's a burger, people. But let's make the best burger possible. So the best burger possible starts with the best meat possible. So this is ground beef, ground chuck usually. And we love what's called 80-20. Does anyone know what I mean by 80-20 when I say that? What am I referring to with 80-20?
Is that the percentage of fat to the rest of it?
Yes! Liz, crushing it. So yeah, exactly. So 20% of it is fat, which is it's usually just the fatty parts. You know when you eat a steak and you're like, I don't eat that part. It's that. And the other 80% of it is just the meat. Anything less than 15% is really healthy for you. It's great. It won't provide a juicy burger. It will provide a really dry burger. So you want to kind of stay above 15, and as chefs, we love 20 and above. It doesn't mean it's overly fatty. It's really balanced. You're not going to be like, oh, this is too much. It's perfect. So 80-20 is what we're after. And then we have our meat. This is about a pound of ground beef. So what I want to start by doing is I'm just going to take it out onto a little board here. And I'm going to kind of just shape it into a little round. And I'm going to kind of use my hand and just cut it in half. So each one of these will be a patty about 8 ounces. Cool. Really, really simple. And I just kind of put them in a little ball like this. We don't have to do anything with them yet. All right. One of the biggest things is when you're working with ground beef is if you play with it too much like dough, it gets kind of tough. What happens is the fat melts because your hands are warm, and it makes it just a little bit hard to chew. I'm sure you've had some burgers where you're like, that's chewier and bouncier than a really soft burger. So the key is we want to shape this, but we don't want to play with it too much. All right. So then I take these burgers, and this is a very important part, is you take your bun, and I like to use the bottom bun, and I kind of measure it. And what you want to do is you want your burger to be bigger than your bottom bun. So I'm going to start flattening out my burger into a little puck, and I'm just going to kind of round it with my hands, flatten it out. But my goal is for it to be wider than my bun. Anyone know why? Why do we care about this?
Because it shrinks when you cook it.
Yes! Who said that?
Sharon!
Yes! I love it, Sharon. Yes, so exactly. There's so much water in this burger that it's going to shrink down. So if I made it just the same size as our bun, you guys get the idea. It will look like a little puck. But you guys can see this is a really good visual. It's a little bit bigger than my bun itself. And that's where we want this burger to be. So trick number 1 is kind of measure it against your burger and make sure it's just a little bit bigger. Lindsay, you like that trick? She loves it. All right. Beautiful. I'm going to do the same thing over here. You guys can see how precise I am. I mean, it's burgers, right? Don't have to pull out the ruler. Don't you dare. All right. Those look killer. Those look great. Cool. So the next step is where your doctors are going to want to kill me. And this is the reality, okay? When you have a burger at a really good burger spot, this is the main thing that they're doing that you're not doing. they're seasoning the burger properly. They're using salt and pepper much, much more than you do. You know, all salt does, it doesn't make anything flavored differently. It doesn't make it taste differently. It makes the beefiness of the burger more beefy. If I salt Jerry, she becomes more Jerry-er, right? If I salt Kate, she's more Katie. That's a thing. So that's all it is. If you salt a tomato, it's more tomato-y. So salt is just an enhancer. It just makes things taste like itself more. And you really got to take full advantage of it. So I want to show you guys how to season this burger. I like using kosher salt and black pepper. And I like to sprinkle from up high and really crust on that salt. You guys can see how much salt. I know you're looking at that and being like, I have never added that much salt. That's why my burger rocks. That's all I got to say. Okay? Same thing with the pepper. I take my pepper from up high and I almost want to crust. I almost don't want to see the meat under it. Look how much that is. I'm going to show you a different view here. Look at that. Whoa, right? That is a lot of pepper and a lot of salt for 2 patties. So I'll flip it and do it again so you guys can see. All right, so salt from up high. And we do it up high so it spreads. And lots of black pepper until you see like a crust. And by the way, if you don't like spicy, you can totally take out the black pepper. But the black pepper just gives it like a little bite that I love. How we doing, team? Everyone with me? Are we learning some good burger tricks? I think it's pretty good, right? Okay. Next up, obviously, a very important part is the grill itself. So we've been preheating our grill. If you've been inside, I said to preheat it to like a 6 out of 10. If you're outside, full whack. If you're inside at this point, you can turn it a little higher, 7, maybe even 8 out of 10. But the next problem that a lot of people do is they take oil or spray and they spray the grates or they rub oil on the grates. Does anyone know why that's not the best idea? No? Throw it in the chat. Okay. The reason why that's not the best idea is because sometimes it adds too much oil to the actual fire itself, and it can cause flare-ups, which burns your burger. So I always like to oil the patty or the vegetables or the chicken, not the actual grate. So I just add a little bit of oil, and you can kind of just lightly pat in the oil and our salt and pepper. And that's it. You can just do one side. We'll get the other side in a bit. And then the last trick is I like to put a little dimple with my thumb in the middle of the burger. Just like that. Just kind of, you don't have to press all the way down, but just like halfway down. And this allows the heat to go into the burger a little easier, cooking it from the inside out very, very evenly. So I'm going to take this patty, and I'm just going to hold it nice and light. You don't have to like manhandle it. And I'm just going to lay this down on my grill. Oil side down. I'm going to get rid of this little board here. I'm going to wash my hands. And this is a great time for some burger questions, thoughts, concerns. By the way, I would do this exact same thing with turkey burgers if you don't eat meat. Yes. Let's hear it from Lindsay.
I have a grill mat so as to reduce the flame up. Would
Yes.
you recommend using it or not using it?
Don't need to use it for this. If you get a little flame up, just kind of move the burger to a new spot. It could just be the spot where it's at. Yeah, good question.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and then we got a couple of questions that came in before class. How do you make your burger juicier? Well, couple ways. One, we all know what chicken stock is. You can freeze chicken stock in little ice cube trays and push one of those ice cubes into the burger. So when it cooks, it actually melts that ice cube in the burger, and when you bite into it, it's like one of the best things in the world. It's crazy. So that's one trick. Another trick is obviously following that 80-20 rule, right? If you don't follow that 80-20 rule, you're not going to get a juicy burger. So having enough fat on that burger, really important. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can, of course, grind your own meat. It's really easy to do. There's so many attachments, meat grinders you can buy nowadays. But you grind your own meat, and you can kind of tell how much fat you're adding, how much meat you're adding, and you can add more fat to make it even juicier. Totally up to you. Oh, this looks great. All right. So one of the things you're noticing is I am not messing with the meat. And I don't see a lot of guys on here, but men tend to, when they're grilling, they're looking cool, they got their beard, they're like, and they're just messing with it the whole time. And they're wondering, why is this not getting a crust? Why is this not getting a char? You got to be patient. I've noticed ladies are so much more patient than guys. This is like a button for us. So really important to just let this cook, not touch it. And it's a great time to kind of tackle other things. So, I've got a tomato here. This is a crazy looking, beautiful heirloom tomato, but I'm just going to cut a couple of wedges of this. I know I don't really need to teach you guys how to cut a tomato, but I would just say don't cut it too thick. A lot of people cut it too thick. I've got some good old-fashioned cheddar cheese and some bib lettuce. Bib lettuce is way more important than you think. We'll talk about why, but I'm just going to kind of click off a little bit about it. But lettuce plays an important part in making a burger, believe it or not. And this is really important, guys, just to kind of have everything that you might want on your burger ready to go. Cool. I have a little mayo here, some pickles. Just kind of getting the whole thing set up. Now, for my next trick, there's a lot of fat that's in these burgers. And listen, if you're going to have a burger, in my opinion. So get a nice fatty burger. But you don't need to have all of that make your bun soggy to kind of drip all over you when you eat it. So there's a cool trick, which I like to grab a towel, preferably a dark one. And I like to just lay it down somewhere by my grill. And this is going to be the landing pad for my burger. So once these are done cooking, I'm going to go ahead and move it to here. And this is going to kind of drink and soak up a lot of the fat that we don't really need to eat. All right, let's take a look at these things. Now, how do I know it's time to take a look at these burgers? Well, hopefully you guys can see. Do you notice on the burger, the gray has kind of moved about halfway up the red? So that's when you kind of know it's time to flip. When the gray moves about halfway up the burger, that is telling you, let's take a little peek. So I'm going to go ahead, take my spatula. It should come right off. Oh, that's beautiful. All right, so I just sneak the spatula underneath, hold it with one hand, and there you go. And when you're patient, you get those char marks, which is beautiful. Yes, Lindsay.
Question.
Yeah, bring it.
Katie Powell asks, what are y'all's favorite types of tomato and cheese to use?
What are my favorite types of tomatoes to use?
And cheese to use on a burger.
Yeah. Okay, favorite type of tomato and cheese to use on a burger. I know this sounds fancy, but heirloom tomatoes are absolutely the best, as well as beefsteak tomato. Beefsteak is right up there. It's way cheaper and really juicy, but holds its shape. So beefsteak tomato and heirloom are my favorite tomatoes. Cheese, I don't go fancy. I go American, I go cheddar. If you want to go one level up, provolone, man. Woo! Provolone.
My favorite's blue cheese.
Okay, Lindsay's favorite is blue cheese. I like blue cheese. I could mess with some blue cheese. I'm not against it. Nicole, I'm just keeping you honest. Where am I at with my onions? You better be keeping time, girl.
You have 4 minutes left.
See, my spidey sense was happening. It was happening.
Yes.
They smell amazing. They really, really, really do. I could turn them up a little bit. I'm just going to give them a little stir. Oh, and they smell so good. They're just kind of barely wilted down. Oh, looks amazing. All right. So the next question is, well, how do you possibly know when this burger is done? So a couple things. First, The very first side is going to take a little longer than the second side. Does anyone know why? Why would the first side take longer to cook than the second? Throw it in the chat.
Because it's heating the inside of the burger first.
Good. That's a really good guess and kind of on par. Yeah. When you put the burger on a hot grill, it's a cold burger and it kind of cools the grill down. When the grill kind of comes back up to temperature, it's used to the meat by this point. And so it really, really holds its temperature the second flip. So it's a lot faster on the second time around. That's true with steaks, fish. You know, with salmon, I do like 5 minutes on the first side, 3 minutes on the second side. It always is less on the second side because the grill is kind of up to heat. Now, one of the big questions that we got, which I love this question, is, well, when do you add the cheese? You add the cheese about 30 seconds before your burger is done. So, again, how do you know your burger's done? I'm going to show you guys a quick tip. But I want everyone to make a fist. Like, you know, like a fist. Don't have to clench it like you're going to punch something, but a soft fist. Take your finger on your other hand and feel inside your fist right here. This is medium rare, meaning if I feel this burger and it feels like this, it's medium rare. And you can kind of see these look pretty similar. This burger is about medium rare. If I want it medium, where there's less red, I kind of go up this way. And I touch right here and then here. And you kind of can touch. If you want it really well done, you can do the back of your hand, but don't you dare invite me over for those. That's too dry for me. I like medium rare. No. My grandpa likes it cooked all the way through, shoe leather style. And I'm like, Grandpa, you're killing me. I mean, if you're going to do that, go get like a 50-50, you know, meat to fat ratio. At least you'll have some juiciness in there. But these are looking pretty good. So I'm about a minute out to where I want them. And I'm going to just place a little cheese over the top. And honestly, you can take a bowl, you can take a plate. You just need to put something over the top of it. And, you know, Liz is outside, so she can just cover her grill. But this just helps deflect the smoke and the heat back over and helps kind of melt that cheese down. You don't want to add this cheese too early because it will just melt down and it will become kind of oily. You won't even see the cheese. So just about 30 seconds on the grill is all you need as it starts to kind of wrap itself around the meat. Oh, this looks so good. It smells incredible. Burgers are just, they're so summer. All right, these are looking awesome. I'm going to remove these. Oops. So I'm going to take them up and just place them right on my little towel there. And that cheese will continue to melt. Now, this pan we are not done with. I know you guys know this. But man, you have all those beef drippings. Great opportunity to grab some buns and just start toasting. So I just cut them in half. I got some brioche buns, which I think are really worth the extra price. They're a little bit more expensive, but if you can find a potato bun or a brioche bun, man, it just makes such a big difference. How we doing, people? Thumbs up, everyone? Liz, are you cool?
You're at time. You're at time for the onions, just so you know.
Oh, thank you, Nicole. She's keeping me there. Let me take a look at these guys. Oh, yeah. These are looking good. And I might give them a little longer, but these are absolutely passable. I don't want to cook these to the point of being a jam. I want these kind of softly sweated down, lightly caramelized, lightly browned, and they're just this soft sweetness that plays so good with the burgers. So these look phenomenal. You can cook them for another 20 if you want to get them a little darker, but this is how I like them. Just gently, gently soft and caramelized. You can see they're just lightly caramelized. Those look killer. You could spoon those on the hubcap of a cab and I'd eat it off of it. That's some good stuff right there. All right. Let's check these burgers. Oh, yeah. And by the way, I didn't add any more fat. You know, no need to add oil to the buns. Just let those toast We don't add oil to our toaster in the morning when we're doing bread. So just a nice toast. And I'm going to move my burgers here. And then it really becomes about the art of building the burger, which everyone is like, oh, building a burger, easy peasy. This is why this is called the art of the hamburger. There is a method to this madness. There is a right way to build a burger. And when I eat a wrongly built burger, I know there's some room there for improvement. But we're going to let these buns go a little bit longer. One of the questions that came in is, when do you melt the cheese? We talked about that. How do I keep the burger flat and not shrink up? Well, no matter what, it's going to shrink up. So there's no real solve there. But keeping it flat, it will stay flat as long as you shape it nicely. And then how long does ground meat stay good for after defrosting? And the answer to that is 4 days. 4 days. Yeah, cool. All right, I'm going to take my tops here and my bottoms here. All right, here we go. So bottoms are here, tops are here, burgers are there. So first and foremost, congratulations. We made it through the cooking process. Now all we got to do is put a puzzle together. And I think this is the scary part, because this is when people start to arrive to the house. They're like, hey, do you have a beer opener or can opener? And you're like, I'm about to build burgers. Kids are running everywhere. So this is where I just want you to center yourself. Tell your spouse or tell everyone, hey, go head out to the backyard. I'll be right there. This is your burger sanctuary. Okay, this is where you just need to take a breath, take a moment, and we got to do this right, because we got it all the way here. Let's take it past the finish line. So, step one. If I put this burger on this bun, it's going to soak the fat from the burger in the bun, making a very soggy bun. So what I like to do is add something that gives it a little bit of a glue. So I have a little mayo here. You can use ketchup, just the lightest amount. Literally a teaspoon, if that. And it just, you'll see why, but it adds kind of a protection. And over that, and this is why the lettuce is so important, is where I stick my lettuce. Just one layer. And it sticks to that mayo, allowing the lettuce not to move. So this is a protection of the bottom bun. That's all this is. Do we care about the taste of lettuce? No. We're about to eat a burger. Is it there to make sure that the bun doesn't stay soggy? Heck yeah. Nicole, whoever you just brought into the kitchen is the cutest freaking kid. Who do we got here? Oh, you there? He's got to unmute.
Say hi, Jack.
Jack! Hey, Jack!
Hi.
What's up, bro? I love your tank top. Do you like hamburgers?
Is it louder? We have seeds. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Nicole, I love that you got him into the kitchen. Makes me so happy. I get my how old is Jack? I'm going to guess 2? Around 2?
How old are you?
3?
Three.
You big guy. My guy just turned 3. He loves to cook too. Keep cooking with your mama. I love it. All right. So now we've got our lettuce. This is when you can add your burger right on top. And you can see the cheese is just slightly melted beautifully. That's exactly how I like it. All right. So at this point, cheese is down. Perfect opportunity to add some caramelized onions. Totally optional, but I overdo it with the onions. This is where it gets messy and amazing. But they're so good. And then, if you want to do tomato, go for it. I'll do one with tomato, one without. Maybe one with pickles. Oh, man. And slap that lid on top. You can do a little more mayo if you want. If that's not a burger, I really don't know what is. You can see the patty is just slightly bigger than the bun, so it's not like it shrank. But that's the way a burger should be served right there. You don't need to make it so big to the point where you can't fit it in your mouth. You should be able to squish it down and have it be absolutely easy to eat. But let's cut into one of these. Let's see where we took it. And I like to kind of make sure there's lots of pressure as I do that. Oh, yeah. See, that's where I want it. And you guys can't see the medium rare on that a little bit with the light, but you can see a little bit of it, kind of the pink coming through. That is exactly where I want it. So I grab a little plate, load up the burger. And you can, I mean, my bottom bun is not soggy. It's not falling apart. It's absolutely intact. Beautiful. Look at that. I don't know if anyone's cooking along, but I'd love to see your burger if you've made one.
Well, I left all my fixins inside.
That's okay. You'll have to show us later.
I will send a picture for sure. But Joel, I never thought to put the lettuce on the bottom to protect the bottom bun. I always put it on top of the burger with everything else.
I'm telling you. And when you go to a burger joint and they don't do that, call them out. Call them out.
Amazing.
All right. That salt, that pepper, that time that you took for it to cook on the grill makes such a difference. Makes such a difference. Guys, what other last minute questions do we have? How we doing?
You want one?
Yeah, Lindsay's got one. What do you got, Lindsay?
Sonia asked a really good question. In terms of splitting the meat up, about how many burgers would a pound make?
Sure. So Sonia asked, how many burgers would 1 pound make? So it'd either make 2 big ones at half a pound per, or 4 small ones at quarter pound per. So totally up to you. Or 1 Joel size one. I'd eat a pound burger. Let's be real. What else?
Chef Joel, I'm curious, do you have a favorite side dish with your burgers?
Besides French fries, which I know you're going after tonight, Liz.
Yes.
I don't know. I know this is like really cliche. I like it down and dirty. I like a tater tot. I'm a tater tot guy. Some beautiful tater tots. I just like something crispy. You know, a lot of people go slaw on the side of it or a salad. It's not my jam. When I eat a burger, I lean into that burger. I do want you guys to try that mushroom powder. Oh, so good. Makes a big difference. And then there was one more question. And we kind of hit this, but what is the perfect bun to pair with a burger? So again, look for brioche. I know a lot of people might not have that, so then look for potato rolls. And like those Hawaiian potato rolls, kick butt. Those are great. So if you have access to those, go for it. But you guys, that is the art of the hamburger, and I hope no matter where you're stationed, in the States, out of the States, or if you're in the middle of PCS right now, you have plans to make this burger, but those little tricks, the dimple, the time on the grill, the amount of salt and pepper, the 80-20, the right bun, all those little things add up to an incredible burger. So I really hope that you guys get to get outside, grill it up with some friends or some family, and enjoy some time around the table with some burgers. So with that, I'll pass it back to Liz and the USO team, but as always, thank you so much for having me, and I love cooking with you guys. So have a great one. Liz, back to you.
Thank you so much, Chef Joel, and we appreciate you and your team so much. Thank you for being here and guiding us through the art of the hamburger today. This is amazing, and what a great way to kick off the summer, right? Like everyone's getting into grilling, and like we mentioned earlier, if you're in the middle of a PCS and you're like camping, you can do this. If you're cooking on a George Foreman, you can do this. If you're in TLF, which all of our military families, we know what TLF is, and you have a little cooktop, you can make a burger. So we hope you guys play with this and have fun with it. For those of you who joined us today, we are actually going to be giving away some of these amazing USO aprons.
Woo!
So you're going to receive an email after this with a feedback survey. And as long as you fill out that feedback survey and send it back to us, we will follow up with an email if you're one of the people that we draw your name to get an apron, and we'll mail it to you. So be on the lookout for that coming from us. Otherwise, you guys, thank you so much for being here with us, for cooking with us, or for just joining us, being in the chat box, and just being a part of In the Kitchen today. We're so glad that you joined us. Please follow along with us on our Facebook group, USO Military Spouse Facebook group. We have a brand new Instagram account at USO Mil Spouse. Find us on there. And of course, find Chef Joel and the team at Homemade. You saw their stuff in the chat box earlier. Hopefully they can follow along and throw it back in there for me again. But follow along with all of us on social media. We will let you know when the next In the Kitchen is happening. Should be sometime in August. And until then, hope you guys have a wonderful summer. Be safe, be healthy, and we'll see you next time in the kitchen. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.